Hellos and welcome everyone. This is Lakshit Pan from Azure Developer Community and welcome to the day 4 of Mobile App Development Cohort 2.0. We have our expert mentor Siddharth Chopra with us who will be guiding you, who has been guiding you for these 3 days. Now it's the 4-day continuous 4 days that we have been training on the weekends. And I hope you have built your prototype and we will be sharing, Siddharth will be sharing some of the codes today. So I make sure you reach that level that we are working on and try to cope up with the phase that we are on. And just a quick announcement for next weekend, there are no classes. I again repeat, for 28th and 29th there will be no classes. Instead we'll be doing the classes on 31st. So instead of 29th and
So,
28th and
sorry to interrupt. Actually, this Tuesday we can have the class.
okay, I'm really sorry for the confusion. Instead of having the class on 28th and 29th, we'll be having the class on 24th of October, right? I hope that's fine with you all. We'll be meeting at the same time, 7 p.m. at on 24th. So make sure you join by that day. And not wasting much more time, I'll quickly pass on the stage to Siddharth Bhaiya. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the day 4 of the cohort. So let's just start. Just a quick questions. Like, if you have any questions of the yesterday's class, or if any concept is not clear to you from the yesterday or the previous class, you can just type in the chat. We can discuss more on that today. And apart from that, our aim for today's will be how to create multiple screen apps. And in the previous class, we have learned how to create a static app. Okay, so whatever we have created will be there forever, but that's not like how real app works. Everything there is dynamic, and today we will be creating some kind of dynamic apps. Like, after clicking some kind of button, a new functionality will be there. Apart from that, we will learn more about the classes. Like, in the previous session, somebody asked about the stateless and stateful, so that part will also be covered today. Okay, it's great if you don't have any issues. Nice. Okay, so if there's no question, I am just presenting my screen. So I hope my screen is visible. So let's just revise like whatever we discussed in the previous class. In the previous class, we have discussed about the few widgets. We have discussed how to create an app bar, how to add a color to that app bar. We have discussed how to create a title. Apart from title, we have added what is that actions. So we have discussed about the actions. We have discussed about the leading. So basically, all the basics property of the app bar we have discussed in the previous session. Apart from that, we have also learned about the few widgets. Like, first one in the text, like we have already discussed about the text widget. Apart from text, I think we have discussed about the container. And in the container, we have discussed about the uh, like, in container we can add only one child. So this was the limitation of the container. So if you want the multiple child inside, so we can use column, or we can use the row. And inside column and row, we have the some kind of alignment as well. So we will discuss more on that today as well. So that's not an issue. And I think some more widget we have discussed about the icon, and some buttons we have discussed yesterday. Two type of button we have discussed. First one was the elevated button, and another one was the floating action button. So I think this is pretty much good, like whatever we have discussed. I think if you don't have any issues, so just don't worry. If you still have some issue, like, we will discuss more on all of these widgets today as well. Okay, so sometimes we will use button as well. So if you have any questions, like, you can even clear at that point of time. So let's just move on. If you just check, okay, no message. So I'm just moving to the Android Studio here, and I've created a new project here with the name of the day 4. So yesterday also I missed to share the code, but today I will definitely share the code of the previous session and today's session as well. So I've just run this code, and this is the hello world code, as you all know. So here you can find some kind of classes, stateful, stateless, and all. But every time what we do, we just remove this code and we type something here. As we know that the Flutter project starts from the main.dart, and the first function which runs inside the main.dart is the main function. And if you want to run something to the application, we have the run app. We have discussed this multiple times. And as we are using the material UI, so we'll be using the material app function. And inside the material app function, we have a property called home. And inside home, what we use is a scaffold. And the reason is quite clear why we are using scaffold. We are using scaffold because we just want to add multiple things like app bar, body, floating action buttons, and all of those kind of things which already exist in some other app. So yeah, so that part we are doing in each and every app. But my requirement today is not to create a single screen app, right? Whatever we write is inside this home function. What happens generally is like how to create a multiple screen app, because again home supports only one thing. Home doesn't have the multiple pages option. So whatever we write inside is the first page, and that is actually the last page. But my requirement today is to create the multiple screen apps like we have in all of those apps. We just don't have a single page. For example, here inside Gmail, WhatsApp, we have a, if we click on some button, we go to some other page. So similar way, I want to create a multiple screen. Okay, so for that, how to create a multiple screen? So first thing what you have to do is to go to the lib folder, and where we have the main.dart file. So what I will be doing here is every screen we can have a different UI page. So that part I can follow. So I'm clicking on the new, and there are some multiple options: C++, class, directory. How do you, if you want to create a folder? But I just don't want to create a folder. I will instead go for a dart file. So you can see there's an option to dart file, to create a dart file. So I will just click on it, and I will just type here first, because that will be my first page. So I've created a new file with the name first.dart. Uh, Let me just repeat like what I have done. Let me create a new in D4. Okay, so what my requirement is to create multiple screen today. And and the approach we were following in the all of these days, like because the home inside the material app only supports a single widget, so we can't create multiple screens through that. So what we will be doing, instead of like writing the code inside a single file, what we can do is we can create multiple files, and we can just write all of those page in a single file. This approach we will be following. Although you can write many screens code in the main.dart itself, but it is not a great approach. The reason is like the single screen page is about the 500 lines of code, and you want to create 10 screens, so it will be 5000 lines of code inside a single file. So it is not a great way to manage. So there are multiple architectures also, like how to design the app, but we will not go into the much high level idea, but instead we will be using the how to create some kind of basic apps kind of things we can create. So the first approach like we can follow, for each and every UI page we can have a separate file. So that approach I will be going to follow. So for that I've created a new file, and I've named that file as first.dart. Okay, so here we have a new file with the name first.dart. Now, as this is a file, so how to represent this as a Flutter file? Okay, because this is the .dart code. I can just write a print statement and it will work fine. Okay, like let me just show you. So as we all know, every file inside uh, the Dart starts from the main. Void main is it starts, and if I want to print anything, I can just write inside, just a minute, inside first dart file, and I can just check. I will just go to terminal. I will go inside the lib folder, and I will just run this file dart first.dart, and as you can see, it will just print the statement inside first.dart file. Okay, first.dart file. But my requirement here is not to create a normal Dart file, but my requirement is to create a Flutter code file. Like this will have the information about the my Flutter UI. This should have the information. Okay, so for that we already have a pre-existing classes that we can use. Okay, so if you are familiar with the OOPS concept, whether it is C++ or maybe the Java, you already know. So there we have an option to create classes. So we can have create classes and object. Okay, so in similar way we have an option to create classes in Dart as well. Okay, but if I want to create a specific Flutter screen page, for that we again have some kind of predefined classes that we can directly use and that is basically what we do as an extents like keyword that which we are using. Like some other guys already created their classes and we are just using the properties of those classes inside our uh, app. Okay, so we have different classes available. So first one is a stateless. So first we will discuss about the stateless class and then we will move to the stateful. Okay, so this might confuse you. Okay, so let's just give me 15 to 20 minutes. So like if that's not clear to you, then you can ask your doubts. So first I will create the stateless and then I will go to the stateful. So how to create a stateless class? I will just remove all of this code. And as you are using the IDE, VS Code or Android Studio, so if you will type stateless, STLESS, and if you press this enter, it will create it by default add all of those functionalities here. Like it has the build function and the okay, let me just first name this. So I will just name my first here. And as you can see, like my class name has started with the my first, and here we can see some kind of errors here. So I will just clear in a minute like why we are getting all of those errors. So here, so first line here, the class my first extends stateless widget. So first of all, the my first was a Dart class, but we are extending some other class properties here. And that stateless class who has created, the Flutter team has created, and we are just using those properties in our app. And again, we have a build function. So what build function does here is like whatever we write inside this function actually gets printed inside the UI screen. Okay, so if I write anything outside this function and I just want to add to the mobile UI, I just can't add. So I have to write that code inside the build function. Even the scaffold which adds something to the UI, we will write that scaffold inside this build function. Okay, so let me just remove this placeholder and whatever information is there. And instead what I will do, instead of this, I will write a scaffold because I want to use the scaffold. And as soon as I type the scaffold, you can see this errors are gone. Okay, so the first question is like why this errors are gone. Okay, so I will just press the Control Z here and just repeat. I will, as you can see, there is no import statement. And as soon as I will type the scaffold here, what will happen? The scaffold will import a library, the material.dart, which is the same we were using in the main.dart as well. Okay, so again, the Flutter material, because the stateless widget, like this widgets come from a material library is what I can say. Okay, so again, what I can do is I can remove this part, and if I will copy paste this thing here, then also it will work. Okay, so error will be gone because the stateless thing, this class come from the material.dart library. Okay, but our requirement is to use the scaffold, so I will again write the scaffold and I will just run this code. Okay, so as nothing is on the screen, so it won't be visible. Let me just create an app bar to just check. Okay, like if that is working or not. So I've created an app bar title, and the title I will write here is the first page, and I will run this code again. So as you can see, nothing is shown to the screen. Okay, so why? Let's again go to the main.dart and try to understand why nothing is getting printed onto the screen. So I am here to the main.dart. Inside the void main, we have created a material app, and again we have created a home, and home we have set to the scaffold. And inside scaffold we have not written anything. Okay, so we have created a new file. We have created a new screen first.dart, but we haven't set. Okay, so our our app doesn't our app doesn't know that like if I created the 5 different page, so which page I have to add to the first one. Okay, so instead of writing scaffold here, what I can do, I can write my first, the class name here I can write. So now our app knows that the first screen that you want to display as a home will be reflected to the this class actually. And if I will rerun this code again, now you can see the first page as shown. Okay, so this is exactly the same like whatever we have written uh, the previously, like we were creating scaffold and writing all of those details there. But instead this is a better way of writing a code because all of those our configurations of the material app, like we can put in the main.dart file, and whatever we want to create something to the new screen, like which I want to create, I can write those code here. And if again I want to create a new screen, let's say like I want to create a splash screen. Okay, so if you don't know what is splash screen, So like if you open a new app, like for example Uber or WhatsApp, for the few 1 or the half second you get an icon of that image. So at that point of time your app is loading some information from the internet or maybe some from the local storage, and at that point of time, like you want that screen to be the first page again, or you want, or you have created a new page and you want to put that as a first page of your screen. So only thing you need to replace here is that home page, and that's all. So that is the stateless widget. Okay, so again, this is kind of more of a static thing. Like what you have created is completely same. In some time we will move to the stateful widget, and of course there's a small limitation in the stateless, so that's the reason we have a stateful class. So I think you don't have any issue in understanding this code. Like if you have any issue, like you can just ask. That spelling is wrong. Kalli मैंने ठीक वो spelling. Hello Kushal. Okay, so if you have any doubt in understanding stateful, like you can just ask, or else like we will move to the some new concept as well. And again, like whenever we are doing the code for the Android or maybe the iOS, so like if we were not using the Flutter, and if we were using some other language, for example Java, Kotlin, Swift, or any other React Native, so at that, like what happens here is, like first we write the code, and if you want to run that code, it again take 30 to 40 seconds, because it's create an APK and it install in the uh, in your phone, so it takes a little bit time. But there's a feature in Flutter. Just by using that feature, you can just change everything in literally 1 second. Can you tell the difference again? Okay, so stateless and stateful I have not cleared yet. So only stateless, just focus on the stateless. When we will go to stateful, then you will be clear like what is the difference of stateless and stateful. कोर्स के एंड में क्या प्रोजेक्ट सबमिशन होगा? Yes, you will be getting a project. So you have to clear so you have to create that project, and you can just submit on, and I can review that project. Okay, so first, like just focus on learning this concepts, and then we can move on to create a project. GitHub repository का लिंक किसी को देना है या सिर्फ मेंटेन करना है? I think the Lakshit will answer this question, because even I'm not sure about this. Okay, so let's again move on to this. Okay, the code. I think if you don't have any question, I think majority if you're confused between stateless and stateful. Okay, so when I will discuss about the stateful, then I think it will be more clear to answer this question. Let's for now just focus on the stateless widget. Okay, so I was just telling a concept here. Like if I want to create I've added some kind of code here. Okay, for example, I've created an app bar, added a color red to it, but and added some kind of text, and the font weight I have added, or color something we have added to each and everything. Okay, but my requirement is again to change. Let's say I want to change its color to blue. I want to increase the text size. So again, like what I have to do, I have to run this code again, and it takes a few minutes. As you have seen in the Flutter, like it is literally very much fast. But again, if you have changed a small thing, if anybody has used the Java or Kotlin to create Android apps, they must have known, like even to change a small thing, it takes 2 to 3 minutes to create an APK, and then that APK is installed in your phone. So it is a quite lengthy process, and in the development phase, even if you want to change a small thing, it takes many time. Okay, but here in the Flutter, we have a concept called hot reload. Okay, and what this concepts mean, like whatever you will type, like as soon as I've added the this red color, or if I want to change this red to blue, and I just save my code, it will literally live, it will change in real time. So it won't take 2 to 3 minutes in changing this code from here to here. It will be literally very much fast here. So let's just try to use this concept stateful. Okay, so like I've created an app bar. Okay, so let's just change the color to background color, and I will add this color to colors.red. And here we have a button on the run. We have a button of this kind of a bijli symbol. Okay, electricity symbol. And this concept, if you hover over this button, it will be written Flutter hot reload. So what I have to do, I have to just click on this button, and you can see the color has been changed live here. I don't have to run the code every time. Like if I'm making some kind of small change, so I just don't have to again and again do the restart this complete app. Instead, what I can do is I can just save my code, or I can just click on this button. If you will press Control S itself, then again it will reflect the changes live here. So it saves like a many like it saves a lot of time in developing an app, because like when you create a UI, if you want to change a small thing like to add a border radius, text, if you want to change a small thing, so again running the whole code, it takes a lots and lots of time. So you can use this feature, hot reload. Okay, and this hot reload works inside the Flutter class. What does that mean? Okay, so like I have not told you this concept before, because for that this thing works inside the Flutter class. So if I will create a scaffold here, and if I will type something here, and if I will click on this, so the hot reload won't work. It only works inside the Flutter class. So whatever I have written this code inside the stateless or stateful class, at that time only this thing will work. And again, that change should be inside the build function. Okay, so if that changes is outside the build function, it will again won't be reflected there. And if there's some kind of dynamic change, and you have create let's say you created some variable and you are changing that variable outside this build, so you have to restart uh, restart your app again. But our majority of the code will be inside the build function as well, so that won't be a issue. Okay, so I think the hot reload is literally a time saving for us developers. Okay, so let's just learn some few more concepts here. So I'm just creating a body. Inside a body, I'm creating a container. Inside container, like let's say I want to create a text here. Uh, I want to create a text as well, and apart from text, I want to create a button, let's say. So what I will do, as I my requirement is to create a text as well and a button as well, and the text should be on the top of the button. So as container only supports one side, so what I will be doing is I will create a column, and inside column what I will do, I will create a text, and I will type this is text. And you just don't have to do anything, press Control S, and you can, as you can see, you have the text available here. Now again, like what I will do, I will create an elevated button. The button function, I'm putting it as an empty, and the text I'm going to add here is click me, for example. And I am again pressing Control plus S, saving this code, and you can see the button is present here. Let's increase the text size, so I think it will be more clear to you. And text style, like font size, I have to increase. I'm increasing this size to 30, and I think it is now more clear to you. So what we have done here, we have created an app bar, and app bar color I've set to red, and I've added title as text. And inside the body, I've created a container, and inside container, I've added a child with the name column, and inside column, I've added two things, text and elevated button. Okay. So I think this is pretty clear to you. Now my requirement is this text is almost like there's no space here and here. Okay, so again, if you already don't know the CSS or the if you already, if you are a web developer, you might know about the CSS. In the CSS we have a margin and padding. Okay, so the first thing, like again, you can do this with the help of like creating a row, and you can add a container, but that is not a right approach. Like the best approach, okay, that can be the right approach, because it will again give you some space here. But the container again have few properties with the name of margin and padding, so you can add the margin again. So I just don't know what property the margin supports. So if you will hover over that, you will find it support edge instance dot. And if you just want to add the margin on all of those side, you can just go for edge instance that all, and you can just write 20. So it will just add some kind of margin to the left, right, top and bottom. But again, if you don't want to add to all of those, what you can use is can use only, and you can just add, if you just want to add some space to the left. So now this space is only to the left, and if you want to add some more space to the top, let's say 50, you can just add that thing here. So that is the property of the margin. So okay, so if you don't know CSS, like I will just explain you the margin property. So let's assume like this is our container. and this is our mobile screen. This is our mobile screen. Okay, this is our mobile screen, and I want to add some space here. Okay, so what does margin property will do? It will just add a new layer to it. Like this is our container. It will add some kind of, this is our margin, and the by default value of the margin is 0. So I can just increase the thing here to, so it will give you some more space between our the screen and that container outside. And what does the padding means? Padding is inside this container thing. Okay, so here this is our padding. So by default value is again 0. So if you want to give the space inside the container, you can use the padding property. Okay, if it is not clear to you, like I can just make this visualize to you more. I'm just adding a color here. So now you can see, like if I will remove this margin, so our container is from here till here and the width, and it has the complete height here from the top to bottom. Okay, so if I want to add a margin here, if I want to give some space outside this container, I can use this margin property, and I will use edge instance dot only. And if I want to give the space to the left, I can give the space to the left. If I want to give the space to the top, let's say 30, so I can just give that space. But now if I want to give the space inside this container, for that I can use a property with the name padding. And again, padding also supports the edge instance as well. So I can just write the same thing, edge instance dot only. And if I give the space of, let's say 20, so now you can see this container, inside this container, it is giving some space here. So this is the padding property. If you don't know about the margin and padding, you can just try this thing multiple here. So just play with this concepts, margin and padding, and just try to see how your app looks beautiful. After you will use 4 to 5 times, like it will be much clear to you, like when to use margin and when to use the padding actually. So that's all. So I'm just removing this color so it looks a little bit beautiful. Okay, so my requirement, okay, so I think this is pretty much clear to you. So what is our next requirement? Okay, my requirement here, I'm just changing this text here to Apple, for example. Okay, now what I want to do, like as soon as I click on the click me, this Apple text should change to some banana, let's say. Okay, so what I will do, instead of typing the hard code Apple here, what I will do, I will create a new variable here, and that variable will be string. So I can create a string with the any name, let's say a string, and I've added a fruit equals to apple. So I've created a variable with the name fruit, and if I want to use this fruit, I can just go here and I can just paste, instead of writing the hard code string there, I can just use this variable. Okay, so okay, so we have to write this inside the build. Okay, so that's the reason it's showing some error. So inside the build, I've added this variable. So now as you can see, everything is same. Okay, so if I will type apple 1, so it will show apple 1 here. If I want to write it orange, and if I will run this code, it will again have the orange. Okay, but my requirement now is to change, like on clicking the click me function, this variable should be changed. Okay, so how we can do this? As we know, whatever we want to do inside the click button function, we have a function already with the name of on pressed, and whatever we will write inside this function, it will be changed there. Okay, so what I will do, I will just update this value of this variable to, let's say, apple. So initial value, it's orange, and what I want, on clicking the on press function, this fruit value should change to apple. So let's just run this code again and let's see what is happening. So I've saved this code and I'm clicking on the click me. So I just click on the click me, but now this value is not getting changed here. Why? So the question is why. So let's just try and print this value and check. Okay, and I will just type here fruit value is, and as I already told in the first class, if I want to use some variable inside a string, I can add a dollar symbol there, and after that I can type the variable name. and I'm just running this code again, and let's go to the run file, and I'm just clicking on the click me function. Click me, and as you can see here, the fruit value is apple. So that means it has changed the value of apple. It has changed the value of the variable to apple, but that value is not getting printed over the screen. Okay, so if it is a little bit high, so I will just repeat. Okay, my requirement is to change the value of this text on clicking this button. Okay, but my requirement, so what I've done, I've created a variable with the name of orange, and on the onPress function, I have just changed, updated its value to apple. But what I can see here, that value is getting updated, but that thing is not getting printed on the screen, and that's the actual the limitation of the stateless class. Okay, so the reason it is not getting updated here is, in the stateless, what exactly happens here, the whenever the first time it runs the code, so whatever information it has on the screen, it just gets printed on your mobile phone, and after that, if you make any changes to the UI, it won't be reflected to the phone screen. So that build file is only executed for the first time, and it doesn't track the values of the variable as well. And that's the limitation of the stateless class. And a stateless class can only be used to create a static page. Like if you want to update your UI after it is being created, so then you have to use the stateful class. Okay, so I think the use of stateful is clear. If you have any doubt, like, you can ask, and in the next few minutes you will learn how to create a stateful class and how to actually update that value. So project में क्या बनाना है? Okay, so you will know that today, like today as well, and maybe in the next session, like when we will discuss more on the OpenAI thing, like how to integrate the Chat GPT. So that will be actually our final project. I can even show you that today, like what actually we will going to build the final day. But for that, even you have to learn, like whatever I've discussed till today, you have to revise this and you have to create a basic app. I will give you the information in the group itself today. If the stateless is clear to you and the limitation is clear to you, you can just type in the chat, so it will be much better. uh, if you have any doubt also, like, you can ask in the chat and I can answer to that question. Okay, so I think it is clear. Okay, uh, let's just move to, okay, so I think the requirement, you have already got. What we want here is, so clicking a button, we have to change the value of this text, but there's a limitation in the stateless class. So if you have if you have a requirement to create a static page, then you can go for the stateless class, or if you want to update its UI after it is getting created, then you have to go to the stateful class. So let me just create a stateful class. I'm creating a new file here, and I will just create a second second file with the name second.dart I have created, and the similar way I've created a stateless class, I will create a stateful class. So as soon as you will type the st, you will get an option to create stateless and a stateful class. So I will just create a stateful class, and I have to just give the name. So I'm giving a name, my second, and the similar way, what we will do, we will type a scaffold here, and it will import the material.dart, and all the error will be gone from here. So let's just run this code again and let's see. Okay, so nothing is again shown to the screen. The reason here is the main dot home is still getting pointed to the first dot. So I have to change this thing from my first, and I want it to point to the second screen, like what we have created. So let's just run this code again, and now you can see we have a blank page here. So as we haven't added any code inside the scaffold, that's the reason it is showing empty. So let's quickly create an app bar. So app bar. So just pressing Control plus S. So hot reload is working, and you can see the app bar is getting printed to the screen. Title, I can add second screen, control plus S. So second screen is getting text is getting added. If you want to create a body, we can create a body. And what we have added, container we want. Inside the container, what we want is column, and inside column we want to add two two widgets. The first one is a text widget which we want to add, and uh, here we have added apple, and another we want a button, elevated button. On press, let's keep empty and create a text, click me, control plus S, and we can see the button here. If you want to create increase the text style, we can type text style, and font size we can increase to, let's say, 40. So this is the exactly the same thing what we have created here, and I will just copy this code from here and create a variable, so the code will be the completely identical. uh, so I created a fruit as orange, and this thing again I will type here, and I will change this hard code string to the variable fruit. I will just run this code again, and let's see what will happen when we click on this button. So as soon as I click again on this button, as you can see, the value is not getting changed. But again, on the terminal, it is showing that the value is getting updated to Apple. Okay. Let's again just print this thing, and let's just add one more statement to this one. Value of fruit value before update. Before update is, and let's just check what is happening here. So let's click on the click me, and what we can see here, the value before update is orange, and the value is getting changed here, but it is not reflected onto the screen. Okay, so why again is the reason. So the first thing, like what we have discussed, the previously what is happened here is the stateless doesn't have an option to dynamically change the UI after it is getting created. But again, in the stateful, as I have told, stateful can update the UI. Okay, but again, it is not getting updated. So why is it so? So let me just answer to that question. Because the stateful class doesn't know that which variable is going to change in the future. Okay, so like if I have the 100 variables like created the similar way I've created the fruit, the stateful class doesn't know that which variable I have to track, that variable might change in the future, and at what time I have to actually update that value to the screen. Okay, so again, for that we have another function with the name state, set state. Okay, so whatever variable I have to change, I can type, copy that variable, and I have to type inside this function, and now everything will work fine. I'm running this code again, and I will click on the click me function, and now you can see that value is getting updated to Apple. Let's try this again. I'm running this code again. I'm clicking on the click me button, and now the value is getting updated to the screen again. Okay, let me just repeat like what we have done. The limitation of stateless was it can't update the screen after it is getting created, but stateful can. But previously the stateful doesn't know like the which variable is going to change. So if there's a requirement to change the name variable or the fruit variable, that thing we have to write inside a function set state at wherever time we are updating its value. So if you don't write that variable, like whenever we are changing, if you don't write that inside set state, it won't work. But if you want to update that value to the screen, we have to write that update statement inside this set state function. So that is all about the stateless class. That's about the stateful class. And now if you have any question, and now if you have any doubt between the stateless and the stateful, then you can ask. Let's just wait for 2 minutes, and in the meanwhile, like I can show you like what we are actually going to build in the final day. So I'm just showing you one of my project. Okay, okay, so this project is basically a developer assistant. So what we will be doing is okay, so let me just give you a quite little bit. This project was created using Flutter only. And let me just give you a few things, like this is the exact part of what we will be creating. We will try to little bit clone a WhatsApp kind of UI where we'll be having a text field on the bottom and a send message button. And sometime like you can use your creativity as well to create this screen. And basically what we will be doing here, the use of this developer assistant, this Linux word here. If you already know the Linux operating system, there we have a few commands there. Like not few, there are many commands. Like even if you want to create a folder, you have to learn a command. If you enter a folder, you have to learn a command. But when I was in my first year, like I tried the Linux for the first time, and it was a quite complex for me because I have to again learn many commands, and again I have to use this create folder command many times. So what I've done is I've created this app, and this app I can type anything in the English language, and it will convert that to the actual uh, Linux command code. This is similar to the Google Assistant, but this is more to the developers. So that's the reason I've named this app as Developer Assistant. And let me just show it to you. So if you will type hello, it is just telling my name. And if I am typing here, can you please list files? So this is actually connected to the Linux server, and I've typed this command in the English language, and on the behind the scene it is running the ls command. So I used the NLP and the several other concepts to build this app. But now if you want to create such kind of app, it is very much easy because all the backend part uh, is already done by the OpenAI guys. Like they've created the chat GPT, and the chat GPT alone knows all of those commands. So we'll be just using their API, and we can create the front end of our app, and all the backend stuff will be done there as well. Okay, so what we will be doing is this is the Linux, the use case, like what I'm trying to say. Even you can create this app, or if you want to create some app, for example, to change the grammar, like for the grammar, if you want to change the if you want to check the grammar of the statement, you can type the anything here, and it will just give you the updated grammar or a better version of that. So that all use case, like we can try in the further classes. So this part is our the main final goal of creating. This app also have a many other features as well. I basically you can find this on my LinkedIn. I've pinned this video, so you can. There are many other things, like I've even added the compiler there. You can uh, literally write a Python, C++, or this is basically an online compiler. The similar way we have tried the Dart.pad, the website for the Dart. So even I created a compiler in the mobile itself. Okay, so is this app integrated with AI? Yes, this app was integrated with the AI, and this app was created when I was in the second year of my college. But for that, I've used the various other things, the cloud, Linux, DevOps also I've used. But now we don't have to learn all of those concepts, because after the OpenAI has launched the Chat GPT API, so everything is very much uh, easy for us to create. Let me just okay. You are super talented. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, for variable change, we use set state, and what for at time variable should change. Yes. So if there's a requirement that variable is at that point of time you want to update its value, then you can use the set state function. Let me just give you a live use case of that. Okay. Let's suppose an Amazon app. Okay, and in the Amazon app there is a product, and you are adding that product to the cart. Okay, so what will happen here is, as soon as you will add this product, this value is getting updated here. For example, the previous value is 4, so now it will add the 4 plus 1, and now that variable is getting changed to 5. So if the Amazon team wants to display this value here on the top, on the real time, then they have to update this value inside the set state function. And again, like if I will answer here, as soon as I send this message here, and I want to update this value here to on the screen, then actually I've created all of this message inside a list, so I'm updating this list here. So again, wherever I'm getting updated, like on click this function, and wherever this variable value is getting changed, if I want to change update this value on the screen, then I have to type that thing inside the set state function. So if you have been okay, so I think it is clear to you. Set state and the stateful, set state, stateful, and stateless is clear to you. Okay, let's move to some new thing here. Now my requirement is not to hard code this value here to orange. Now what I want here is that user can type this value. So if you already know, as we have in the login sign up page, we have a text field there, and the user can click on this, a keyboard will appear and the user can type whatever they want. The similar way we have a uh, the text field in the WhatsApp, like how we type the message. So my requirement is to create the text field here. So again, we have a different widget for this, and the name of that widget again is the text field. So let's just create a text field and see how does it look. So I'm creating a text field below this button, text field, and that's all. I'm running this code again. So now you can see a text field here, but again it is not looking good, but I think it is working. So whenever I want to click on this text field, our keyboard is getting appeared, and I can type anything I want here. Okay, so that's the use of the text field if you want to input something from the user. But again, I want to update some UI to it so it looks better. So I can add the decoration here. Okay, and input decoration, I can use this property again. Like you can just go to that Flutter official documentation and you can use this variable. The reason I have used it hundred and thousands of time, I just already know. And I'm just adding a border so it looks a little bit good. Outline input border I'm using, and I'm running this code again, control plus S. So now you can see this text field is looking quite better. But now again, like it is getting stuck with the mobile screen as well, so it is unable to distinguish between the text field and the mobile screen border. So what I can do, I can use a margin here, and I will be using edge instance dot only, and I will add a margin to the left and the right, and the 2020 margin I'm adding. So we have a text field, and again if I will click on this text field, it can ask, I can just type anything. Okay, so that's all. But again, it is like not much clear to you, not much clear like what exactly we have to type inside this text field, because for that, like we can put a hint text here. So we are getting here, and if I want to add some detail, for example for the username or email, I can just add a hint text here, and now it is much more user friendly to the user. Like now he knows, like inside this text field is asking for name, and then user can know and he can add his name here. Okay, so now let's again move on. So now I'm just putting this button. Okay, so I'm again creating a new button here. I'm creating a new elevated button. Or let's not complex this much, and I'm just removing this code. From here to here we have a button, so I'm just copying this button and I'm putting this button below this, and I'm removing this text. I'm just running this code again. So now we have a button below this and we have a text on the top of this. I'm removing this button from the top and this text here. So now we have a text field and just a button. Here we have a text field and here we have a button. Again, there's no space, so I can add a top margin as well. Top margin, let's say 40. So that's how you can add some space. And again, if you want to add a space between these two objects, you can use a container, and or else, and you can add a height, let's say 30. So you can add a space between these two objects. But again, if you don't want to use the container, because in the container is little bit heavy, because it have many other properties as well. But my requirement is to not use all of these properties. I just want to give a space. So instead we have another widget with the name of sized box, and it supports only limited properties like height, child, width, and key. So I just want to add a height. I can add, let's say 30 pixels height. So yeah, instead of container you can use the size box as well. So size box is the most preferred way if you just want to give the space between those two things. Okay, so now again, what is my requirement? My requirement is whatever I type inside this variable, I want to click on this button and this value should be getting printed over the screen. So I'm just creating another text box here. and I'm just removing the inside of this code. Okay, so this will be much empty, and I'm removing this string as well here. I'm creating a new text here, this text here, and for now I'm just adding the name here. Name is, and again I'm just running this code again. So here we have a, the name is, just increasing it is its style, so this will be much clear to you. 30. Okay, so I think now it will be visible to you. And again, if let's again use a size box here, so to give the space between this two, so I'm using the 20 height here between this two. Okay, so that's by using the size box you can add the height or the width you want to you add. If you're using the row widget, you can add again this size, so you can use a width here. But I'm using the column, so my requirement is to add a little bit height between these two. So actually what is happening here is there is a widget created here, and the height of that widget is 20 here. Okay, so now again let me just quickly tell you my requirement. I want here is like as soon as I type sid here and click on the click me, this value should be here should be name is, and it should display sid. So again, now how we can do that? So for the first thing, what we have to do, we have to create a variable with the name, and initial it should be empty. Okay, so that variable is empty, and instead you can use a string as well, but I'm using the dynamic. If you don't want, like as I already told in the first class, you can create a variable with the name variable in Dart. So if I want to print this variable, I can just go here and I can add this thing here. The name is name. Okay, so if I will type something here and I will click on the click me, that value is not getting printed. Obviously this won't change because this variable is not linked to this text field. Here we have a text field, and this value is not getting linked to this variable. Let me just repeat again. We have created a variable with the name, but whatever I type inside this text field, that value should be stored in this name variable. For that, the similar way we have a on press function, the text for the button. Here we have a function with the name of on change. Like whatever value is getting changed, that function will be getting called. For example, let me just tell you. If you will type control plus space inside the text field, you will have a function with the name of on changed. So I've created a blank function here, but as you can see, we are getting some error. And the reason here is the onChange function has a parameter. And the reason here is that value which is getting changed is stored inside a variable. So I have to create a variable, so I can just name it anything. And how I actually know that, I can hover over this and I can see this function has a string with the name onChanged. Okay, so this value is getting changed, and if I can just print this value, for example, and let's me just rerun this code again, and let's type abcd and just see. So as soon as I will type a, you can see that a is getting printed, b is getting printed, cd. Let me just show you abcd. So here we have that value abcd. So what exactly is happening here is this function is getting uh, is is tracking whatever I type inside this text field, and if I want to use this value anywhere, I can just add that value. For example, I have to use this value here to this to the name variable. So what I will do, name equals to value. That's all, and I can remove this print statement from here. I will rerun this code, and let's just see what is happening. Let me just type my name, Sid, and click on click me. But again, nothing is getting printed over the screen. But let's just see if we can fetch this value in the elevated button or not. Print, and I can just print the variable here, name. I'm running this code again, and let's just see sid, clicking on click me, and you can see that value is getting printed here, but it is not displaying to the screen. Again, why? The reason is we are not using the set state function. If I want to track this value wherever I'm getting changed, I have to update this value inside the set state function. So when I will type the set state function, I can just cut this code and I can just paste this inside this function. And now if I run this code again, and now if I will type something here, sid, now you can see this, that value is getting updated here. But again, this is live. Okay, my requirement is again not that. My requirement is whenever I click on the click me function, at that time that value should be getting updated. Okay, uh, I think it is if it is not clear to you, you can ask this question again. Like whatever I will type here, you can just find that thing is getting printed to the screen. And the reason is quite clear. I've created a variable with a name here, and I'm just putting a text here with the name is name. And again, inside the text field, I'm just tracking the value of this, and that's all. If you have any issue, you can ask this if this part is clear to you. And then again, like we can learn this concept, like how on clicking that button, that value should be getting updated to the screen. Can you explain how you used AI? Something like API you said. We will cover this part in the cohort. So for now, just focus on this part, like whatever I'm teaching, because all of this concept will be used when you will be creating uh, the app, like when you will be actually integrating the AI in the app. So at that point of time, this all concept should be clear to you. There's a little lag in the YouTube live stream, so let's wait for 10 to 15 seconds, like if it is not clear to you. Which software are you using? I'm using Android Studio here, this. Okay, so I think if you don't have any doubt, we can just move on here. So, okay. So why my requirement is like that? On clicking this button, this value should be getting updated. Okay. So let me just explain this to you. Like when you can get such kind of requirement. For example, you are creating a login sign up page. You're creating a login sign up page. You are asking for the user the name field, the email field, the phone number, and then you have a button to submit. Here we have name, email, phone, and we have a button here. Button. Okay. And now what I want, as soon as the user click on this button, all of those information should be saved to some a database. Let's say if you want to create a login sign up page, or if that is a sign up page, you want to save this functionality to some database, let's say SQL or some NoSQL kind of database. You want to save all of this information, but you don't want to save as soon as the user type the name here. You want to save this information as soon as the user click on this button. at at that point of time, this value should be getting updated to some kind of database. Okay, backend part. Aditya, if you could please repeat the question, because it is not clear to me, like what you are asking. If you could please retype the question. So again, let me just quickly tell you my requirement. So if you are creating some kind of login sign up page, and users don't want to save the information the live, like if the user is typing, if he has added the half of the phone number and we are saving that information to some database, we want all of those information to be saved when that button is getting clicked. Okay, so for that, the first thing, like what we can do, instead we can create the another variable as well with the name there, and we can just use that information over there. Here's added. Okay, so what you can do here is like create another variable with the name of name1, and what you can do here is you can use the, instead of just directly using the name, you can use the name1 here, and on clicking on the on pressed function, what you can do here is the name1 equals to name is what you can do, and what you can type it inside the set state. I'm just cutting this code, pasting this code here, and now this will work. For example, sid. So now you can see it is not getting printed here, and I can click on the click me, and this value is getting updated here. So this is the first approach, like what we can try, but again we can use the single variable as well. So I'm just putting it a little simple to you for your understanding like what exactly is happening here. Whatever value we are updating here on the on change function is stored inside this name variable, and what we are doing on clicking this variable, we are at creating a new variable with the name of name1, and we are updating this value at the time of clicking this button. And 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 similarly we can use this value, the name1, if we are using some kind of function there to create a register a user, if you want to send an email to that user, or value, or adding a value, adding a product to the cart. So that's the way how you can use. Just try and can create various different thing here. What you can try, you can create a calculator, a simple calculator for adding two values. You can create a, like in the first you type 2, and you again have a text field to here, and what as soon as you click on the submit, it value will be get printed to 5 or something else. The similar apps you can try. Even I can give you a little homework, like what you can try. uh, like you can try to create any login sign up page, and what you have to do for that, just go here and type login sign up app UI, and you can just open any UI here. Just open any UI here, and you will find various different UI here. And before going to this part, I would highly recommend you, if you watch this video, I've already created a video for this, the UI specific. So I have a two video on this channel. So this is my channel optimizer, and here you can find uh, this UI page. So this is a 35-minute video. So instead of again covering all of those concepts, you can directly watch this video. And again you can use this video as well. Here also I've teach how to create a login sign up page. So here there's a few new concept as well, how to add an image. So it will be better if you can try to add that yourself as well. So I know there are new other concept of the pubspec.yml file, but just try to understand. It's okay if that concept is not clear to you, we can discuss in the next class as well. But I will share this two videos with you, and you can just watch this video. So I think this is all for today, because many new concepts we have learned, and it will be more okay if you practice all of those concepts. I will share this code straight away after this class, and just do one thing, as only you have a one day. So just revise all of those concepts like what we have used today. Just replicate this concept. Okay, just replicate all of those concepts, uh, and just replicate each and every concept, like whatever I teach. Try to use container, column, row, add multiple combination, like use margin, padding, and just try to see whatever things how you can use in the. Maybe you may issue some error. So just try to get that error and just ask me, because this is the best way. Because after 6 days, like again you have to message me on LinkedIn. And because I know many of you, because even I was the same. Like if I learn something new, and I just try after 10 to 15 days, but that's not how you should learn. You should immediately try all of those concepts, because after 10 days some part of you will already uh, you will forget many concepts there. So I will share this code with you. Just try all of those concepts from the day one itself. Like I will say, I will create a scaffold, create app bar, create the floating action button. Like even I've told how to use the on press inside the elevated button. Just use the on press inside the floating action button. So this combination you have to try. Okay. Bhai, tomorrow is the last day of the cohort. No, tomorrow is not the last day of the cohort, because we still have to learn a few concepts. In the next class, we will discuss how to navigate to a new page, and we will again learn how to add an image in the next class. And maybe if we will get some time, we can learn more about the APIs, how API are getting used, and how to actually fetch the information from the internet, and how to use that information inside our app. The similar way in the previous session, I have shown you that Cowin app. the vaccine alert which I've created. So the similar way, not because even the API of the vaccine, I don't know if they have any data. So we can use some other API maybe to fetch the information of some country's data or some kind of the cryptocurrency data. I think we can find the few free APIs there. We really enjoying the cohort, very insightful. Thank you. Where do we have to submit the homework? Okay, so you can submit the homework on the LinkedIn as well, or even I think the Lakshit will share you the link of the Google form. If he doesn't share you the link, the best way to submit is on the LinkedIn. The reason I'm saying this to you, because let's suppose a new startup company wants to create a page of, he wants a, a developer who knows how to create a UI of the Flutter, and he and you knows how to create. But how that startup founder knows that you know that thing? So the best place is the LinkedIn. So if you will put like, I know how to create a login page, I know how to create this page, then you can just go there. uh, then that founder, if he will search for the Flutter keyword, a Flutter developer, and if you have added those things, so even even that founder can approach you there. Attendance कैसे लगेगी? Just a minute, I am sharing you the attendance form. So I'm just I don't know how to pin. Okay, so I think I've shared. Can I get your LinkedIn? Yes, sure. I'm just sharing my link tree. You can just go there, and all of my channels and all of my IDs are mentioned there. So if anybody wants to connect with me, you can just go to my LinkedIn, Instagram, and other GitHub, Twitter, and all of those social media accounts are mentioned here. Also, my two YouTube channels are also mentioned in this link tree. Uh, so that's all. I will just wait for a few minutes if you have any questions. So I will just wait for that, or else we can end this cohort. So it's showing dynamic link not found. Can't open link. Just a minute. Even I don't. I will share this link on the WhatsApp. I think it will be better. I just don't know why it's not opening here. I will share this link in the WhatsApp. Okay. So don't worry for that. Or let me again share that, like if that works for you. I just don't know which link is not working. Both of those link are not working. That form link and the link tree link. Can you please confirm, like if this link is not working? Form link. Okay. So I think there is some issue in creating the form link. We will create the form again, because in my system this link is opening. I'm just sharing the link again. Let's try with this new link. Just try to open this link now. Or I will message Lakshit, like he will share the form link in the WhatsApp itself. Okay. So that's all from my side. लिंक में से लास्ट से ओपन रिमूव कर दो. Okay, thank you so much. Attendance link is not working. Guys, I have shared the new link. Just try with that link. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.